Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to completely demystify the complex biology of weight management. We're taking a fascinating journey that starts deep inside your body at the microscopic level of your fat cells, travels right through your daily habits, and brings us all the way out to what's sitting on your dinner plate. If you've ever felt like your metabolism has a mind of its own, you are in the exact right place.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're moving beyond basic calorie counting, diving into the literal science of fat burning, looking at how sleep impacts your fat stores, and uncovering the true power of dietary protein before we bring the whole shebang together.
Okay, so for decades, we've all been sold this idea that weight management is just simple math, right? Calories in, calories out. But is it really that straightforward? Well, no. We're starting by busting that old myth. Sure, creating an energy deficit matters. It's absolutely crucial, but the reality is way more dynamic than a basic calculator. As the latest research outlines, your biochemical environment, your behavioral habits, and the specific macronutrient makeup of your food actually dictate how your body stores and burns fat.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, Beyond Just Counting Calories, the Modern Weight Struggle. Because to solve a problem, we really need to understand the sheer size of it. And the case here is, well, it's staggering. Listen to this. According to the CSIRO, 2 out of every 3 Australian adults are currently classified as overweight or obese. 2 in 3. And if things keep going the way they are, we're looking at more than 3/4 of the adult population by 2030. That is huge. This isn't just about people lacking willpower. It's a massive, complex, global public health challenge. The old advice clearly isn't cutting it, which means we need a smarter, science-based approach.
Which brings us to Section 2, the science of fat burning, the micro level. To figure out how to tackle this modern challenge, we first need to zoom all the way in, down to the microscopic biology of your fat cells. This is where the magic and the frustration actually happens. So, the absolute key here is understanding lipolysis. That's just the fancy scientific term for how our bodies actually mobilize and burn up stored fat. See, fat is locked away inside your cells in these storage units called lipid droplets. When you're fasting or working out, lipolysis is the pathway that actually breaks down those stored triglycerides, splitting them into glycerol and free fatty acids. That lets them flow right into your bloodstream to give your body heat, energy, fuel. I like to think of this as a highly coordinated biological teardown. It's a precise 3-step chemical process. You've got these specific enzymes, ATGL, HSL, and MGL, and they systematically dismantle a fat molecule, literally pulling off one fatty acid at a time until all that's left is basic glycerol. It is a beautifully sequenced release mechanism that basically sets that stored fat free so your body can actually burn it. But here's the catch. Your fat cells don't just leave the front door wide open. Picture this. You've got these protein shields called paralipins, and they act like literal bouncers at a club, protecting your fat stores. When you've got plenty of energy, these bouncers stand firm, completely blocking the fat-burning enzymes. To get past them, you need a VIP pass. In your body, that's a hormone like epinephrine, which shows up when insulin is low. Once epinephrine flashes that VIP pass, the bouncers step aside, and the fat-burning enzymes can finally dock and get to work.
All right, moving on to Section 3. How sleep impacts fat, the behavioral level. We know how the cellular machinery works now, but what happens to that delicate, microscopic hormonal balance when we pull a few late nights for work? Check out this wild Penn State study highlighted by the American Society for Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. The researchers basically put 15 healthy guys in their 20s through a simulated, grueling work week. First, 3 nights of normal, baseline sleep. Then, boom, restricted to just 5 hours a night for 5 days straight. By day 8, these sleep-deprived guys were handed a highly palatable, incredibly dense, classically American high-fat dinner of chili mac. Finally, they got 2 10-hour recovery nights. The whole point, to see exactly how sleep disruption alters the digestion of lipids.
And wow, the results were striking. Compare their baseline, well-rested state to the sleep-deprived one. Even though they ate the exact same super-rich chili mac meal, the sleep-deprived guys felt noticeably less full and less satisfied. And the blood tests? They revealed their bodies were clearing those lipids out of the bloodstream much faster than normal, basically predisposing them for rapid fat storage. Dr. Orfeo Buxton, one of the senior authors on the study, hits the nail on the head with this quote right here. The lipids weren't evaporating, they were being stored. That perfectly captures the hidden danger of bad sleep hygiene. Because their bodies were exhausted, that heavy chili mac fat wasn't being utilized or burned for energy at all. It was being aggressively packed away right into those lipid droplets we talked about earlier. And get this, even after a full 10-hour night of recovery sleep, their metabolic handling of fat still didn't bounce all the way back to their healthy baseline.
So that naturally takes us to Section 4, the power of dietary protein, the dietary level. Now that we've seen how sleep directly dictates fat storage, let's zoom back out from the bedroom, look at our dinner plates, and talk dietary solutions.
According to the latest CSI-RAO report, what we choose to eat is just as crucial as how much we eat. Swapping out ultra-processed foods for whole food proteins, stuff like dairy, seafood, and meats, gives you a massive metabolic edge. These high-quality, whole food sources don't just hand you essential amino acids your body literally cannot make itself. They pack way more protein per kilojoule and send a much, much stronger I'm full signal to your brain compared to carbs or fats. Honestly, prioritizing protein at every meal is like having a Swiss Army knife for your metabolism. First off, it crushes hunger by cranking up gut hormones that make you feel full. Second, it has a high thermic effect, meaning your body actually has to burn extra energy just trying to digest the stuff. Third, it acts like a bodyguard for your vital lean muscle mass while you're losing fat. And finally, it tackles this fascinating concept called the protein leverage hypothesis. That's the idea that human bodies are biologically driven to just keep eating and eating until our specific protein needs are met. If your diet is low in protein, you're almost guaranteed to overeat other calories just chasing that innate biological craving.
So what's the magic number? How much do we actually need? Well, according to the science behind the CSIRO Total Well-Being Diet, hitting at least 25 grams of protein at every single main meal is your metabolic sweet spot. Actually hitting that 25-gram threshold consistently is what actively supports hunger management, drastically slashes those late-night food cravings, and ensures you aren't burning off precious muscle while trying to manage your weight.
And look, this requirement is incredibly relevant right now, especially with modern medical tools like GLP-1 weight loss medications becoming so widespread. Because those meds drastically reduce your overall food intake, emerging research is waving a massive red flag. Fewer than 1 in 10 users are actually meeting their daily protein needs, less than 10%. If you are eating less food overall, prioritizing nutrient-dense whole food protein isn't just a recommendation anymore. It is an absolute necessity to prevent unhealthy muscle loss and keep your bones strong as you age.
Okay, finally, Section 5, bringing it all together. Let's wrap up this explainer by connecting the dots between these 3 pillars of health. We've gone all the way from microscopic enzymes up to your daily lifestyle choices.
You now have a truly holistic, scientifically grounded view of how your body works. Real effective weight management isn't about starving yourself. It's about creating the right environment for your body to thrive. You need proper sleep hygiene to keep those lipid-storing hormones in check and stop your body from hoarding fat. You need a nutritional strategy anchored by whole food protein to fuel your muscles, activate those satiety signals, and burn extra calories through digestion. And when those behavioral and nutritional elements align, you create the exact cellular environment those lipogenesis enzymes need to bypass the bouncers and break down that stored fat.
I'm going to leave you with one final provocative thought to ponder. Now that you know exactly how a single late night of work or a low-protein plate of pasta actively rewires your microscopic biology, what is one habit you are going to change tonight to tip the scales in your favor? Are you going to hit the pillow an hour earlier? Or are you going to make absolutely sure there are 25 grams of whole food protein on your plate tomorrow morning? Take this biological blueprint, apply it to your own life starting today, and take control of your metabolism. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.